We've got breaking news out of the NFL where Chargers franchise left tackle Rashawn Slater will miss the entire 2025 season. He suffered a ruptured patellar tendon at practice on Thursday and is now set to undergo season-ending surgery. The news comes less than 2 weeks after Slater signed a 4-year, $114 million extension, making him the highest-paid O-lineman in NFL history. With more of this news, we, of course, welcome in Emory Hunt back to the show and Douzable. Fellas, good to see you. Wish it was for better news. This is a huge blow to the Chargers. And Lijay, I'm going to start with you on this one. Just how big of a blow is this to LA, considering that this is Harbaugh? This is a run-heavy offense.
Yeah, Katie, this is a gut punch for the LA Chargers. Because to your point, Jim Harbaugh, also Greg Roman, you could throw their offensive coordinator in there. Their philosophy is they want to be physical and run the football. And Rashawn Slater is one of the strongest human beings on earth. I vividly remember videos of him at Northwestern squatting like 600-700 pounds with ease, right? So he's a guy, when he gets his hands on you, he moves you off the line of scrimmage. And then when you just look at what he's done over the last couple of years, just last year, only allowed 3 sacks and 15 starts. But Mox, he only allowed 7 quarterback hits, and then you see it per PFF pass blocking grade, one of the best in all the league, top 3 in the NFL. So this is a gut punch to the LA Chargers. But little birdie has told me, and I've seen a few clips, Joe Alt, the guy that they took 5 overall in last year's draft, who was predominantly a left tackle, had been cross-training at left tackle throughout training camp. So he'll be able to slide over. Trey Pipkins is a guy that they paid just a few years ago and has 56 starts at right tackle. So he's not Rashawn Slater, but they'll be able to move Joe Alt to left tackle, and Trey Pipkins will slide into right tackle.
And also, Jamari Salyer out of Georgia is another guy that could vie for that right tackle spot. So they got options, and Lijay hit it dead on. I like the nugget that he said about Alt cross-training, because that would be my biggest worry. Yeah, we know Alt did that at Notre Dame, but now this is a different animal. How can he make the mental switch over left, the fundamentals, the technique, all of that stuff changes on the other side. You just can't move guys left to right. But the fact that he's been cross-training helps lessen the blow. But it's still a significant one, because you wanted to have those 2 great walls on the edge, protecting the passing game, but also allowing you to run weak side and strong side. So that part of it, we're going to have to see if they can kind of adjust on the fly. But they do have options. Pipkins is a guy that has played a lot for them, like Lijay talked about. Salyer is still a guy that does a good job, and he can also kick down inside if need be. So we'll see how this works throughout the preseason, and will they now be a little bit more cautious with Alt going out there as well?
Slater, just 26 years old, 2-time Pro Bowler, and he started in every single game since being drafted 13th overall in 2021. So he's not even used to something like this. In response to his absence, like you guys said, the Chargers have kind of been shuffling things around here. You got Alt in the mix, you got Pipkins in the mix. So, Lijay, I'm going to come back to you on this one. How will it change how their offense runs this season? Is it just next man up, or are you expecting a little bit of a downgrade?
Yeah, this may seem grim, Mox, but that's what football is. It's the next man up. Like, we've seen superstar quarterbacks get hurt. Tom Brady went down in the season. The NFL still keeps on ticking. So you talked about it. Will the level of play be the same? No, because Rashawn Slater is a 2-time Pro Bowler. He was an All-Pro his first year. Now, he did get injured his second year. I believe he ruptured his bicep tendon and missed most of that season. But when he's on the field, he's one of the best in football. You talked about it and alluded to the deal he just got, $114 million, 92 of that guaranteed, which lets you know how the Chargers feel about him and what he's done on the field. So it'll be interesting, as Emory talked about, throughout preseason, as they shuffle this offensive line, and Trey Pipkins probably goes in first at right tackle. And a lot of people thought he was going to be a cap casualty because he just got paid in 2023 and he wasn't a starter. Well, now they have that good insurance policy, and he's going into a contract year, Emory, so he'll be highly motivated to play at a high level. Move Joe Alt to left tackle. You talked about Jamari Salyer, who's played at tackle and at guard. And I'm going to throw one more name in there. Mekhi Becton. Yes, he made the switch to guard last year in Philly and it worked, but let's not forget, he came into the league as an offensive tackle. Last year was his first year at guard. So they have some options, but I believe Trey Pipkins will be the guy at right tackle and Joe Alt will be the guy at left tackle.
And that's the big reason why you get guys that can do multiple things. And you also have to factor in Greg Roman, who has done this with Baltimore. Remember how when he was with Baltimore, they stayed losing linemen, and they kept having to move guys around all across the formation, and they were just fine because they had the guy at quarterback. Now, with that being the backdrop, you're going to ask Justin Herbert to do a little bit more of the lifting in terms of, okay, getting in and out of checks, getting the right play call, and maybe adjusting to certain things if you don't feel comfortable going to one side, maybe slide protection to one side to kind of overcompensate. So it's going to be a combination of effort between Roman, Herbert, and the offensive line replacement that come in there. And if you're Pipkins, I know Leger talked about it. They paid him, but remember, before they paid him, he was one of those guys that fans kind of always wanted to pick on and say, oh, he's the reason why we're losing these games. And it wasn't really his fault, but he got better. He was able to suck it up, get better. And so we'll see him now go out there, like Leger pointed out beautifully, that this is a contract year. We know guys play their best when money is on the line, and this is a great situation to get another bag from the Chargers if he goes out there and handles his business. But I do like the fact that they come into this situation with a Greg Roman and multiple options to keep this offense on pace.
So this is a well-coached team. They still have a lot of pieces in place, and this is a team that I thought really could compete and contend even against the Chiefs this year in that division. So I'll ask you, and again, Lijay, we'll start with you on this one. Does this injury limit the Chargers' ceiling, in your opinion, this season?
No, I don't believe it limits their season. Again, it's a gut punch and a massive blow. Anytime your bookend left tackle is not going to be there for the foreseeable future, it hurts because Justin Herbert always felt like he had that extra second because he knew Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt were going to block whoever they were blocking. Now, this may speed up his clock a little bit, but I still see the Chargers competing in that AFC West. We saw last year they go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs. They go to the playoffs in Harbaugh's first year. One thing Jim Harbaugh does is turn over a team, and we'll see right away week one because they're playing the divisional foes in Brazil week one versus the Chiefs. So we'll see right away what this revamped offensive line looks like. Again, truly believe Joe Alt will make the transition at left tackle, and Emory, he made it so seamlessly at right tackle. I see him doing the same thing at left tackle. Then Pipkins come in. Also, you have Jamari Sawyer. We'll see where everybody else fits into that scenario. But the one thing that is not going to change with Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh, Mox, is they're going to run that pill. That's their bread and butter. That's their DNA, and that's what they'll continue to do.
And that's how you help offensive line guys that has, maybe some depth issues, maybe you have a concern about. Man, just go north and south. No one wants to really go north and south against anybody in today's game of football, but the Chargers are built that way thanks to Jim Harbaugh. They have a great scheme, great system, and 7 backs that can get downhill and run down your throat. And here's the thing, too. I know all of this summer and spring been all about quarterback ranking lists and quarterback who's top 3, who's top 5. Herbert, you want to be top 5? You got to go out there and be top 5. Go out there and get rid of the football quickly. Go out there and make sure you use your athleticism and take off and run if you don't feel comfortable in the pocket. Take some of the pressure off of Pipkins or the reshuffling of the offensive line by doing what you do best and utilizing your athleticism. So this is where you step up and rise to the occasion and not allow one miss lineman, albeit a good one, to derail the whole offense. So I do think they'll still be fine. They're still a very good football team. Defensively, they'll still be good within the front 7. And iron sharpens iron. I fully believe the Chargers can overcome this and still play quality football.
Yeah, when you look at someone like Herbert, I always feel like he's such a baby-faced kid, but he's starting to look a little bit more like a man. So let's see if he could play like a man on the football field. And I'll tell you what, I always trust the man wearing the khaki pants in this one. Lijay and Emory, appreciate your time. Let's take a look at the Chargers' schedule now. Week 1, as they said, Brazil up against the Chiefs. Huge test there. Then maybe gets a little bit easier, but still a national spotlight with the Raiders. And you got the Broncos, the Giants, and the Commanders rounding out the first 5 weeks of the NFL season.